Hello everybody, Luigi Fan here, and I guess I should make a plush collection on Angry Birds. After all, it was the series that got my channel off the ground, so why not? Let's begin! Starting off, we have the Commonwealth Toy and Novelty Redbird plush. This was the very first Angry Bird plush I bought. They used to have little sound boxes in their heads. They no longer work due to their age and due to throwing them against structures, as you should. Here is the first of the blues. Bluebird number 2. And Bluebird number 3. Or Jay, Jake, and Jim if you want to go with the actual names. Here's Chuck. Next is Bomb.
Cool.
Interestingly enough, the original Bomb plushies used to have the little white dot, akin to how Bomb used to look.
Hi.
Also, he has no tail.
Uh-oh.
Here's the white bird. This one I refer to as Matt because I used to think the white bird was male, and in my shows, the white bird still continued to be male. Here's Beak, or Hal, or whatever you want to call him. I call him Beak. Unlike most of the plush, he doesn't have a speaker box.
Oh, wow.
His beak does open though, as you can see. Here's Terrence. Here's Bubbles. Now with his sound box, it's actually in the back of his head, right here. Here's Stella. Again, no sound box for some reason, but here she is. Here's the puffed up Bubbles plush. As you can see here, it's about 12 inches. It's big, round, and still makes noise. The sound box, though, is not in the best condition. Here is the red space bird. Still makes noise. Here is the blue space bird, or the lightning bird, or whatever you want to call him. Here is the purple space bird, aka Chuck, aka Space Chuck, aka Cyclops, aka what have you. Here is Space Bomb. I like how he looks like a planet. Here is the incredible Terrence. And here is Icebird. Here's the female redbird, aka Jaylene as I call her, based off of the Angry Redneck Birds series. Here is Matilda. Here is the mighty eagle in all of his glory. He is huge. He only came in this size. He's a big boy. Hard to move him around, hard to take him places because, again, he's that big. Still very fluffy. He has a sound box. It's in his feathers. Does not work like a lot of the other birds because, again, lots of smashing into structures, as you should. And here is his teeny tiny tag. These plush were also made by Commonwealth, but they were distributed by Good Stuff Toys for use in grabber machines, redemption prizes for the carnival, etc. Here is Space Red, again. Lightning Blue, again. Space Chuck, again. The closed beak version of Hal. And a deformed looking Bomb. These plush do not contain sound boxes. Here are the hatchlings. They were made by Bullseye Toy, and I have 8 of them. They're a little keychain plush. Hatchling 2. Hatchling 3. Hatchling 4. Hatchling 5. Hatchling 6. Hatchling 7. And Hatchling 8. I also have a few bootlegs because Angry Birds was huge in 2010 and 2011 and bootlegs were made. Bootlegs aplenty. Here is the bootlegged Redbird, aka a crazy bird, as I called them in the show. The yellow crazy bird. And the white crazy bird. There were crazy birds for the blue and bomb bird plushies, but I couldn't get them because they were in a claw machine and by the time I went back they were already gone. And here is the infamous purple bird, a bootleg plush based off of the Redbird plush, and I made a video about him a long time ago. Originally he was a keychain, but here he is. But why are the birds so angry? Well, it wouldn't be Angry Birds without the pigs. Starting off, we have King Pig. Here he is in all of his royal glory. Speaker box does not work. Here is the Mustache Pig, aka Mustachio. Here is one of the larger 8-inch pigs. And here is the other 8-inch pig. There's also a slight difference when it comes to fabric on the pigs. Here's the old one, and here is the new one. Here is the large 8-inch corporal pig, as you can see here. Here is the large 8-inch mustache pig, aka Reginald. Even his speaker box is getting a little old. It used to sound higher in pitch, but because it sounds a little deeper, that's how you can tell the battery is getting old. Here's one of the newer common pigs. You can tell by the tag. This is Stormo. From Angry Birds Seasons, here is the Earmuff Pig, as you can see here. Here is the rare Pumpkin Pig. And the Christmas Pig. Here's the 5-inch Helmet Pig plush. And here's what a Helmet Pig looks like without a helmet. Yeah, no ears, no nothing. With plush like Pumpkin, there are ears under the hat. So I don't know why Helmet doesn't have any ears. How does he even hear? I don't know, he just looks like one big round football. Here is the female pig made during Hogs and Kisses. A little tiny pig keychain. This here is Eins, aka the very first pig plush I ever got. He's still very firm. His speaker box sounds like death, but yeah, this was the first ever pig plush I bought. I gave him a hat, and a lot of the other pigs actually have these custom hats, simply because, hey, I want to make things diverse, you know? This one here's the stupid one, aka Ross. He was the first ever pig plush I won from a claw machine. I ripped off 2 of his tags to differentiate him from the other 2 pigs that I won from a claw machine at the time. And yeah, he's basically based off the protagonist from Bad Piggies. This is a small King Pig plush, aka Prince Porky, as he's known in my show. Here's Jeff McBacon, also distributed by Good Stuff Toys. Here he is. Only difference is he has a mustache. That was added on by myself around the time I made Orange Bird's Bird Day. Here is the Easter Bunny Pig, which actually has the little tail, which is kind of cute. Here's another pig, this one with a police hat. Here's the Cupid Pig, also released during Hogs and Kisses. Interestingly enough, I couldn't find this plush in any store. I had to get it from a claw machine. I know there are ones of the Cupid Pig that exist, or Angel Pig, or whatever have you, but I haven't been able to find them. I don't know why. Here's another pig. And another pig. Here is a construction pig plush. Not the official one though, because that plush goes for $500. No thanks. Interestingly enough, that plush went for 12 bucks back in the day, and I don't know how. But funny how it's $500 now. Here's another common pig. This one is Goliad. You can tell the difference because he is a little rounder than the other pigs. Also because he's got this little string right here. Here's another common pig, this one with glasses, based off of Professor Pigsworth from the Angry Birds series, specifically the cartoon, and then he got put in Angry Birds Epic. This here is Trousers. He is a mustache pig wearing trousers. Here is Ravioli, one of the chef pigs. Here's another mustache pig, this one based off of Ham 'Em High. Here is the Fat Pig. This is actually a beanbag cushion made by J. Franco and Sons Inc. He is made of 100% polyester, and he is a big boy. Not nearly as big as the Eagle, but still pretty big. Here's the last of the normal pigs. This is a 6-inch pig plush. Still his original hang tag. Here is the back of the tag, as it shows, not for retail sale, made by Commonwealth. I usually give him a safari hat, akin to his appearance in the Pig's Hotel. Here's Nigel from Angry Birds Rio. Not much to say about him. Here's a tiny marmoset. And a larger 8-inch marmoset, who still has his sound box and still sounds pretty great. Here is the Postman Pig, who used to appear on the original Angry Birds pause screen whenever they had updates about things like Amazing Alex, or updates, or just things in general about Rovio. I don't know if he still exists, because last I checked Angry Birds got removed from the App Store, but I digress. Even then I call him the Engineer Pig because I loosely base him off the mechanic from Bad Piggies. So, Here he is. The bag actually opens up so you can open it and put an egg inside if you want to. Or maybe put in some envelopes. I don't know. I don't care. You do you. Here is the infamous Chef Piggy in all of his infamy, in all of his glory. Here he is. Really love this plush. Love the chef hat. Got him the very second he came out. One of my favorite plush. Love Chef Piggy. Here is one of the many Swine Troopers. This is Swine Trooper number 3. Swine Trooper number 7. Swine Trooper 2, I actually marked on the back of their tags what number Swine Trooper they are. It is with pencil though, so it's easy to remove. That was Swine Trooper number 6. Here was the first Swine Trooper I ever got. Here's Swine Trooper number 10, Swine Trooper number 4, Swine Trooper number 5, Swine Trooper number 8, and finally Swine Trooper number 9. And here is Lord Vader in all of his infamy. These plush are from Angry Birds Star Wars. Last but definitely not least, here's Leonard. From the Angry Birds movie, in all of his glory. There he is. Leonard Mudbeard. Leonard! Interestingly enough, he was also made by Commonwealth, so yeah, the same people who made King Pig also made Leonard. I mean, you could tell because of the way the fabric's designed and everything. Leonard! Hello? And so, this is my current Angry Birds plush collection. Now, you may be asking, where can I get these? The answer is eBay. All of these plush can be obtained on eBay except for the Crazy Birds and the Purple Bird. Most of them are actually pretty easy to get, aside from Chef Piggy, the Engineer Postman Pig, etc. As for the props, most of them came from Build-A-Bear, which is actually a pretty good source for finding props. So until next time, this is Luigi Fan Quad 1 signing out saying see you guys later, and have a fantastic day.